Gianluca Vialli remembered. He only spent one season in charge at Watford. That was 2001 to 2002. But even though it didn't work out for him, he brought a certain amount of style to Vicarage Road. I can remember the day he was announced because I was there. The world's media were there as well. Legendary Italian striker. He won Serie A titles, he won the Champions League, he won the UEFA Cup. He featured in 2 World Cup finals. He was a phenomenal player in Italy. And then, of course, he came over to England and starred for Chelsea. And he won title after title with Chelsea, first as a player and then as a player manager. And then, of course, he had that short spell at Watford in 2001. Didn't quite work out for him, but fondly remembered at the club. And, of course, all of those at Vicarage Road saddened by that news yesterday. Fought a really hard battle with cancer and succumbed yesterday. So a minute's applause for Gianluca Vialli, and away we go in the FA Cup third round, our first commentary match of the weekend. It's Reading versus Watford, and the Hornets looking to push on from where they left off on Monday, where they got that great victory at Norwich in the Championship. Ball out of play. Here's a reminder of the team news. Watford have Maduka Okoye in goal. The back three is Matty Pollock, Francisco Sirialta and William Okong. The wing-backs James Morris and Joseph Hungbo. In midfield, Ishmael Akone and Mario Gaspar, with Yasser Asprilla just ahead of those two. And then up front, the 2 youngsters, Michael Adupuku and Adrian Blake. The bench for Watford, Ben Hamer, the goalkeeper, Leandro Bacuna, and then all of those young players, all teenagers, Harry Amas, Jack Greaves, Emmanuel Adeyemo, Ryan Andrews and Damani Hunter. We're underway. Reading in blue and white stripes against Watford in their home kit of yellow and black at a reasonably quiet Medeski Stadium. It's normally quiet here, and for this FA Cup fixture, likely to be probably even quieter. How's this match going to play out, Derek Payne?
Well, obviously 2 sides that haven't played together a lot, as in the lineups, their first selection, and the players that haven't been in the same group. So you think it'll be a bit disjointed, but also because it's the FA Cup, you expect both teams to go for the win. So I think the longer the game goes on, the more the game will open up, and I think we'll see some entertainment, especially in the second half.
Reading defending their left back area here, up against the young striker Adupoku. And he just about does enough there, does the fullback and Bengu, as Reading have possession on this near side. If you're listening to us on 92.1 or 103.8 FM, you've also got the option of digital radio in crystal clear quality, 103.8 FM. We're on all of our frequencies today and online, BBC Sport Online in the UK for this fixture. Reading attacking into the box, right hand side, cross comes in, it's half cleared. Reading get it back into that penalty area over on the left hand side. Watford under a bit of pressure in these early stages. Reading looking to cross in on that left hand side. Doing a good job over on that far side is Mario Gaspar. Just holds up his player, and Reading are forced to go backwards to their centre half, Scott Dan. And a long way out of his goal is Dean Bouzanis, the Australian, who's virtually on the halfway line before laying it off to this right-hand side. What's the pace of this game going to be like, Del?
Yeah, no, I think it'll be quick. You've got players, young players out there for Watford, energetic, Reading players who probably want to get in that first team. So I think it's going to be quite lively. It started quite bright. The one thing Reading done early on is hit a diagonal ball, something Watford have got to watch out for. But at the moment, both bit of sparring going on between both teams.
Good challenge over on that far side from Gaspar. Gaspar clears in the right back area as Watford just try and play out. Good play from Kone there, nice little touch from him, one of his first touches. We know he's got ability, Kone, just how's he going to fit into the Watford system and the kind of hustle and bustle of Championship life. Good turn from Asprilla, and then the pass wasn't good enough from the youngster, cut out by Reading on this right hand side. Had looked good, a neat little turn from Yasser Asprilla. Now Reading have given the ball away. Sirialta intercepts, and Watford have it on this near side. Looking to break away is Adrian Blake. Blake down the left hand side, just runs into a bit too much traffic, and the ball is out of play for a throw into Watford.
Yeah,
to Reading, sorry.
Sorry, Jeff. Koenig, good couple touches early on. Obviously a lot of eyes on him today. Just brought into the club. for quite a few pounds, so they want to see what he's done. Started okay, good, nice couple of touches. Then young Blake on the left-hand side, the youngster probably overdoing it there, but he'll learn to lay it off at times because he likes to dribble with the ball. But yeah, good start from Kone in the middle of the pitch.
Gasper's playing right wing back, and it's basically Kone and Asprilla in central midfield. It's really attacking side, with Hungbo attacking right, Blake attacking left, and then Adu Poku is sole striker, if you like. I thought Gasper would play central midfield, but they've decided to play him at right wing back instead as Watford clear up. It was anybody's guess to the lineup, really, but Watford very attacking, Del.
Yeah, definitely, like you said, midfield, although Kone will sit Asprilla's centre of the pitch, and you've got three young forwards up front, so but the systems, they're playing 3-5-2, Watford playing 3-4-3, so not a lot of difference really in the systems. Just they might have the extra man in midfield, Reading, and that's where Asprilla and Kone have to be clever when to go into tackles and when to just sit off.
How are those two going to gel? Kone, his first game over from Canada, from a different continent, playing English football for the first time alongside Yasser Asprilla, who's 18 years old. There's not a lot of experience in there, Del.
Yeah, I think the important thing is because Asprilla, we know, likes to get forward, more of an attacking midfielder, not really a centre midfielder. Kone is a centre midfielder, so it's important that they get the balance right. When one goes forward, the other one sits. You can't have them both going forward. And I think Kone will be more the sitting midfielder. And Asprilla, we know how good he is when he can get his head up and gets runners in front of him. So I'm expecting good things from them today, from both of them.
Reading in possession, keeping it in defence. Scott Dan out to that left-hand side as Watford have it now, and a chance to break away over on that right-hand side. Just runs into a little bit of trouble there. Does the Watford attacker Joseph Hungbo. Good little dart away from him though. Free kick to Watford inside the Reading half. Goalless, 6.5 minutes gone on BBC Three Counties Radio. Would normally be the non-league show with Ollie. We've sort of swapped it round today. So Ollie's going to be on at 3 o'clock for the non-league show with updates on Boreham Wood against Accrington Stanley. Also in the FA Cup. This match is live on all of our frequencies today, and then a bit later our other FA Cup game, Luton versus Wigan. Digital radio is the best place for you for that one, and BBC Sport Online for commentary. Free kick, Watford. In comes the delivery. Watford aren't winning that first contact, and Reading get it up to Shane Long. I'll go through their side in just a second. Long picks up possession on the halfway line. Watford near enough sorted out, and then a late challenge from Pollock. Could see him go into the referee's notepad. That was a late challenge from Matty Pollock. I'm not sure Peter Banks is going to allow in that one. It was a late one from him. Might not get away from it. Game still trying to sort itself out as far as the rhythm is concerned.
Yeah, no, I think Watford has shown they're up for this game. Very physical early on, and Pollock just getting in there. I think he gets a touch on the ball. It's around the halfway line. If your centre-half's going to just lay his mark down, and that's what Pollock's done there. He hasn't got a booking, so that's good. But they have been up for it. You can see it. There's some fighting there. There's great support from the Watford fans. Really, a lot of them here, and that will get the team going. So they've been physical so far, Watford, and that's good to see.
Reading are going backwards to goalkeeper Buzanis, and now it's played into midfield. Hutchinson is there, McIntyre as well. Reading steer it down to this right-hand side. Brefa is playing on this right, the youngster. In midfield, Reading have it once again. Watford get back into their shape in this 5-2-3 system. Reading forwards now, chance opens up. Strike at goal isn't a bad one actually, and it just curls over the bar, although the Watford goalkeeper seemed to think that that wasn't going to be too much of a difficulty.
Yeah, it's Aziz for Reading. Fans that like they've got that extra one in the middle of the pitch, and he finds a little pocket just outside Watford's 18-yard box, takes it onto his left foot, trying for the top corner. It was always going over, but that's an area where probably young Blake and Hungbo have to help out Asprilla and Kone, because they've just got that extra man in that midfield area, and he's got on a little bit of pocket of space and gets his shot away. Never trouble in the goal, but something Watford have to kind of be aware of.
Okoye takes the goal kick. Watford don't pick up the first ball, and Reading have it on this right-hand side. Seeing a lot of the ball is the wide player, Abrefa. And now it's Mbengu, and Mbengu looking to curl one forwards towards Xiao, who hasn't seen too much of the ball yet. Lucas Xiao. Great season last time out, Xiao, but has struggled to keep his place in this Reading team. Of course, they've got Andy Carroll in the squad, who's on the bench today. He opened the door for me as I walked into the Reading Stadium earlier this morning. He was just ahead of me. Very kind of him. Here's Asprilla, now into midfield to Kone. He hasn't seen too much of the ball, but looks comfortable when he does receive it. Just curls it round the corner to the right-hand side on the halfway line to Gasper. Gasper goes backwards to Ekong, and Ekong now to Sirialta. Goalless, Sirialta. Back to his best the other night. Sirialta at Norwich really read the game very well indeed. One of Watford's best players, Francisco Sirialta. Calming influence in there as well as Ekong goes backwards to Okoye. Okoye's touch just is strong and heavy, and he just about gets away with it. Probably went about 3 feet in front of him, and that was nearly enough for Lucas Xiao to get in there. Just about cleared it. Watford have it on this near side with Blake. Blake can't keep hold of the ball. Watford are trying to win it back again, but unable to do so, and the ball is with Scott Dan, the experienced defender for Reading.
Yeah, just get away with one there. Watford takes two. His touch is too heavy. Okoye, the goalkeeper, comes at him quite quick, but his touch is heavy, and then he looked really calm, but he just gets there before the Reading forward, but heavy touch from the goalkeeper nearly cost Watford.
Reading have it down on this near side with Mbengu. Senegal player feeds it further down the right-hand side. Abrefa wins a throw-in for Reading in these early stages of this FA Cup third round tie. Derek Payne, former Watford midfielder, alongside myself, Jeff Doyle. Don't forget tomorrow as well, we've got that Stevenage game at Aston Villa at 4:30. That is the time that one kicks off. 95.5 FM for that one, 103.8 FM, and again it's on BBC Sport Online. We have the commentary of the FA Cup games in the UK, so you can listen to this one online, also on Luton game later against Wigan at 5:30, and that Stevenage game tomorrow from 4:30. Ball out of play over on the far side. Good turnout from the Watford supporters. Derek, away to our right.
Yeah, brilliant turnout. Nearly took all their tickets for the away end, I believe. The fans were brilliant at Norwich last week, and even the players talked about it lifted them, and this is something that can lift this team today, because there's numbers here from Watford.
Adupuku, I think, was fouled there. That could be the first booking of the day, and it is the first booking. Reading were just a bit cautious of him receiving the ball there. I think it's Sam Hutchinson who's gone into the book. Didn't want Adupuku getting away from him there. Good work from the 17-year-old.
He done well. You know, he's on his own down the middle of the pitch. He's on the left-hand side. He was clever. He pretends to go one way and then takes it the other way. Hutchinson, who's an experienced player, fell for it, brings him down. Watford get a free kick in a dangerous area, last third of the pitch. Good play from the young striker there.
Free kick, Watford. Left-hand side, about 12 yards outside the penalty area on the left. So Joseph Hungbo is going to take it for Watford. 0-0 here at, I was going to say the Medeski, but it's the Select Car Leasing Stadium. Huge stadium. So many empty seats. Hungbo to take this free kick on the left-hand side. Hungbo delivers in now. Decent one. Reading just about clip it away. Here's a strike at goal. Good one as well. A volley from the youngster Blake. Just blocked by Reading, who looked to clear away. Watford get it back again with Morris. Morris heads down. Blake is there. Clips it forward. Still Watford have it. Adupoku couldn't quite get it down, but he'll get another chance. Adupoku to Morris. Now Blake. Blake now to James Morris once again. And Watford are pretty comfortable out there at the moment. Some of these youngsters seem happy enough on the ball. The Olays are coming out from the Watford fans away to our right-hand side. Here's Kone. Like seeing Kone get on the ball. Looks like he's got plenty of technical ability. He's not being rushed particularly, though, and he's not really being pressed, so it's fairly easy for him.
Yeah, what I've liked about him, though, he's slowed the game down at times, and Reading have had most of the ball in his early 14 minutes, so Kone's been clever. He knows when to slow the game down and then when to speed it up. He's on the ball again now, and he's kept the ball well. Obviously, it ain't going to be like a championship pace, but he's looked very comfortable.
Very calm as well on the ball too, but again, we have to stress, this is not a championship game where it's really, really tight and you get pressed all the time and challenges are flying in all over the place. This is much slower at the moment in this FA Cup fixture. 0-0. Reading down in front of us on this near side have possession. A little back heel there. Morris again is quickly in with the challenge. Yeah, had a good game the other day, didn't it? Norwich?
Yeah, very good. The young left wing back James Morris, I was impressed with him. He's obviously got energy, he's young, but I think he's got a lovely left foot. He looks very good technically, and I just think a little bit more weight on him, a little bit more bulk on him, and then that will help him. But very good at Norwich, and that will do his confidence a world of good.
Bouzanis, the Reading goalkeeper, smashes one down the right hand side. It's asking a lot of a Breffer, who can't keep it in play. And this will be a Watford throw-in, which left back Morris is going to take. 0-0 with a quarter of an hour gone. In fact, Morris is going to allow Matty Pollock to take it. Pollock's playing as the left-sided centre-half. Siriauta is playing as the central centre-half, and Ikong is the right-sided centre-half. So that's how Watford are lining up in defence. Pollock's throw down the left is headed away by Reading. Watford then get it up to the halfway line towards Adepuku. 17 years old, chasing this one as Reading go back to their goalkeeper. Bouzanis clears downfield towards Shane Long, the evergreen Shane Long. Cracking career he's had, and is continuing to chase after this one. 35 years old is Shane Long, still keeping himself nice and fit, and he's won a throw down this right-hand side. Nothing in the game at the moment. We won't get an outcome today if we finish level. Still have replays in this competition until we get to the latter stages, as Reading take their time in taking this throw in no rushes, and Bengu here now takes it and feeds it in towards Aziz. Watford clear, and then Dan heads down to Naby Sarr. Sarr back to Scott Dan. Very grey sky here in Berkshire. Long ball forward, and Ikong didn't need to deal with that particularly. Just got himself in a little bit of bother, but allowed it to run back to his goalkeeper, Maduka Okoye. Interesting to see how Okoye does today, Derek, because he was signed for, what, £3-4 million? We haven't really seen too much of him. No,
it's a good opportunity for him, and obviously he hasn't had a lot to do with his hands so far. One bad touch from a back pass that nearly cost his team, but it'll be interesting to see how he plays when he gets tested. He hasn't been tested yet. The only problem we see for Watford at the moment is Aziz is the third extra man in the midfield, and he's the one finding space. So Watford have to either push a defender in there or get one of the wingers or wide players to tuck in. But apart from that, it is a bit disjointed, this game. We would expect that with all the changes in both sides.
Yep, medium pace at the moment, I think I'd describe it. Morris trying to get a touch. Here's Kone. I mean, Kone, when he gets the ball, is under absolutely no pressure whatsoever. Just happy just to get the ball down and find a pass. If he thinks this is what the Championship is going to be like, he's got another thing coming.
Yeah, but he looks athletic, let's say that. And
he looks all right.
And he's been very comfortable.
Here's Hungbo. Hungbo's touch isn't great. Just ran away from him there, and in doing so, he then committed a foul. So this is going to be a free kick to Reading, who I think are kind of viewing this a bit like Watford. Would love to go through, but because they've got a small squad, they are thinking about the Championship. They're not too far away from Watford as the Hornets win the ball inside the Reading half, and a chance here for Blake. Blake is a long way out, looks to shoot. A little bit of a deflection, wins a corner kick here. Had the strike from about 25 yards out, opened up his body. Corner kick, Watford.
Yeah, Gasper done really well, won the ball high up the pitch. Gets into Blake, who's central then. Come on off that left-hand side of his. Probably had better options to the right where he could have probably set a teammate, but it does go for the shot. It's nice to see he's had 2 shots so far, young Blake. He's not scared to shoot, so that's good to see. But Gasper carrying on from where he left at Norwich, winning the ball high up the pitch. That's where the chance come from. I wouldn't say it was a chance, but it was a chance to get
To take it, in comes the delivery, decent one. Well, it's just a bit too high actually. Kong was furthest back, but it was over his head and curls out of play for a goal kick to the home side.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing, you know. Obviously set pieces, big factor in any game of football. Hungbo just overhits that one. But no team dominating this game, both sides. When they get to the last third, not really coming up with anything that is of any quality.
Yet to spark into life.
Yeah, I think we can say that, Jeff. Not the best so far, but it's what you expect with all these changes to both sides. Aziz is the one that's Reading's danger man for me.
He's a decent player, Aziz. Plays kind of just ahead of the two midfielders, so he's going to probably pick up good pockets of space. Is that handball? Yes, it is. Gasper kicked it against Aziz, and it's going to be a free kick to Watford.
Yeah, he's got a lovely role. He's got the free role just ahead of the two central midfielders playing in midfield. Aziz for Reading. Like I said, because of that space he's getting, he's probably the danger man. But you've got the two forwards for Reading, haven't you? Zhao and Shane Long. Loads of goals they've both got at Championship level and higher, Premiership. Shane Long. So they will be a handful, but so far they haven't had the service. And then you look at the other end, you've got three young players for Watford going up against a relatively experienced Reading line, and Scott Dan in there and others, Sarr. So it's quite an interesting dynamic.
Watford over on the far side, winner throw in. The rain continues to come down here in Berkshire. Reading 0, Watford 0. Updates on Bournemouth versus Accrington Stanley from 3 o'clock. Paul Dixon is there. That's when Ollie will take over the non-league show, featuring reports on that Bournemouth game. And then we've got commentary on Luton versus Wigan from 5:30 on digital radio and BBC Sport online. If you are leaving your house or going out, you can just put your tablet on or your phone on and listen to us online as well today, as it's the FA Cup, if you live in the UK, because we're able to bring you this one online. So just get yourself on your phone and carry on listening to us if you're leaving the house. Here are Reading now left on the left-hand side. Down that side is Long, who's crept up in a very wide position. Long, crossing now though, decent one, and Okoye gets down and makes a little bit of a fumble of it. No one, luckily enough, was close to him, and then gathers it at the second attempt. Okoye will now throw out.
He made the correct decision in the end, but Shane Long's took himself wide just because he knows Zhao wants some deliveries in the box, so he's just put one in the box. Okoye doesn't come, but he's judged to be right because it does land at his feet. But for a while there, you're thinking you want him to come and collect.
Reading have it with Sarr. And the experienced centre-half goes back to his goalkeeper, Bouzanis. Previously with Sutton in non-league football. A Reading attack right-hand side. Challenge comes in from Morris. And Reading will, I think, win a free kick rather than a throw. I think there was a... No, the linesman has flagged for offside. Rain comes down harder now. Horrible dark grey clouds overhead. Windy as well. It's a horrible January day for FA Cup third round football. We saw Manchester United progress through last night. Keep you updated with some of those other games in the FA Cup with 12:30 kickoffs as well today. Forest Green against Birmingham was postponed because of a waterlogged pitch. That's how heavy it's rained in the west of the country. As Watford play this one up towards striker Adupoku. Reading clear away down the right-hand side. Neither goalkeeper has really been tested yet. You have these type of games, don't you, in the FA Cup third round?
Yeah, I think as the game goes on, obviously then the teams, I think, will start getting more shots off, but it has all been between the 18-yard boxes. Really not a lot happening in the 18-yard boxes from either team so far. Not a classic, but we expect this. There's a lot of changes for both teams, so you would expect this. from Watford's point of view, they'll be quite happy with how it started. It's just their second balls, Reading are getting on them more because they've got the extra man in the middle of the pitch. So they can accept, as long as they accept that, then they should be okay.
0-0. 3 counties sport. Reading with a free kick just down in front of us, which they'll take. And McIntyre finds Hutchinson. Hutchinson goes backwards to Sarr. Sarr clips it forwards, just about get away with it, do Reading, with Espria trying to win the ball in the middle of the park. Now Reading get caught out themselves. Lack of communication between the two right-sided players. Abrefa had made the run, and Bengu hadn't realised, and Watford have it with Pollock, who's going to go backwards to Okoye. Okoye clears first time upfield. It's a difficult one for Hungbo to win up against Sarr, and the difference in height between those two is probably about 6 inches. So Reading have possession over on the far side. Have the two kids done for you so far?
Yeah, I think
Adu Poku and Blake.
Well, he's worked really hard, Adu Poku, really hard on his own up there. Looks like he's definitely worth putting the shift in. And then Blake's looked good when he's got on the ball. He's had a couple shots already. Looks very confident. It's more, I think he's got to just learn. He's young. He's got to learn when to give the ball and when to dribble, because he likes to dribble, but there's a time and place for that. But both of them, Graf working really hard. Both of them have started the game okay.
Player down in front of us on this near side, just got caught there by Adrian Blake, and the ball has paused for a second as the player just gingerly gets to his sits up on his backside. I think he's going to be okay though. The centre half and Bengu signing from Metz. As Julian Dix just now calls across Ismail Kone, who's got a white bandage around his left wrist. Kone is just pointing with Julian Dix.
I'm sure this will be about, there's 3 against 2 in there. That's what it looks like to me. Kone's Dix has called him over, and they're talking about the extra man in midfield that Reading have got, and I think Kone's saying we can't get second ball. So interested to see what they do, or whether they, sometimes you can accept it as long as you can push a centre half in, because Aziz is playing higher, so you can push a centre back in, or you could bring one of the wing backs to tuck in. But it's something that they were talking about, and it's something that in this opening part of the game they're getting all the second balls, Reading, because Watford are outnumbered in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, that's what happens. If they're going to play this system, then that's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Aziz he's played a few times for Reading as a former non-league player. He's reasonably young, 21 years old, but he's featured in the Reading side this season and last season. Not loads of times, but what you'd probably call a squad player, playing in that sort of 10 role behind Lucas Zhao and Shane Long. This is a free kick at Kong committing the error. It's a long way out, it's about 45 yards out. Aziz is over it, but I think he'll probably curl this one into the penalty area. Scott Danner's come up for it, the former Crystal Palace and Blackburn experienced centre half. He'll probably be the target. Also Naby Sarr, who we've seen lots of at Charlton and Huddersfield. They'll play it short actually into the penalty area, and then good work there from Kone, spotting that they were going to do that and gets the block in, otherwise that could have been trouble.
Yeah, something that even the team that are out against Norwich and last couple of weeks at Swansea, set piece to Reading, and they just switch off Watford and they just play it down the side of the wall. Kone luckily just switches on at the right moment.
Corner kick for Reading, in comes the delivery towards Dan. Dan heads it back towards the 6-yard box. Sarr is there, Sarr challenges for it. I think he's managed to head into Sirialta there, who does now get up. And Reading have, well, the linesman doesn't know which way to direct his flag there. Took an age before deciding that he would give it Reading's way, and you could probably hear the Watford supporters' frustrated cries. Reading take the throw in and have it just beyond the halfway line now. The rain continues to come down here in Berkshire, swirling across the pitch. In comes the delivery from Reading. It's a poor one. Okoye won't go and gather it, allows it to go across his penalty area. I thought he might have been able to catch that one. Reading have it on the left hand side now and look to crossing. Certainly the home team now are just beginning to take a bit more control of this FA Cup tie. 29 minutes gone. Here's Aziz again, who's seen probably more of the ball than anybody. Out on that left-hand side, he's cropped up. Backwards into central midfield it goes. And now they're spread out to the right-hand side. Bit more possession from Paul Ince's side. Former MK Dons manager. Played into central midfield, and Hutchinson is there. Hutchinson, little 1-2, still has it. Then prods it out to the right-hand side. Reading keeping possession, but they're being forced to go backwards. Good press from Morris there. Still they have it, though, the Royals. And it's now with Naby Sarr looking comfortable on the ball. Watford are fairly deep, but then we've seen that defensively from the Hornets for most of the season. As Reading have it with Sarr once again. Still Okoye yet to be tested in that Watford goal. Reading again with loads of time just to play it out to this right-hand side. And again, I would go back to describing this one as medium-paced, if you're going to kind of describe it in cricketing terms as far as the bowling speed is concerned. Here come Reading though with Aziz. His first strike at goal is saved down low to his right from goalkeeper Okoye, and that is the first effort on goal, and Okoye had to make the save and did, down to his right. Yeah,
he does well, Okoye, because he gets down to his right quickly. Aziz, like I mentioned, he's the danger man because he's got so much space. Watford, Reading are starting to play how they should, passing it, using the three midfield players. Watford have to probably do something to stop this.
Here's the corner, in comes Dan back across goal and just over the bar on that far side. Dan is always the target, Scott Dan. Always comes up for the set pieces, the experienced centre-back, but just a bit too much height on that one and over the top of Okoye's goal for a goal kick. Watford maybe just need to try and get on the ball a little bit more now.
It's going to be hard, like I spoke about. They got the extra man in midfield, and Reading have started playing more through Hutchinson and McIntyre, the two in there, and Aziz. And it's hard for Watford to get possession because they're outnumbered in that area. So it's something I think they need to address. Otherwise, it's going to be more of Reading having a lot of the ball and being not pressed in the middle of the pitch. So Watford, I feel, because they're sitting deep as well, doesn't help the two central midfielders, Kone and Espria. It's a hard job for them in there. So Reading are kind of twigged to use the three in the middle of the pitch, and it's easy for them to dominate possession. So I think it's something Bilic might have to just adjust something.
Well, when I saw the team sheet, because I thought Gasper would play central midfield with Bakuna on the bench, but actually he's gone and played right wing back. They're just, of course, struggling for central midfielders, as Bouzanis does well in his penalty box. Just had to deal with a back pass and then laid it off left-hand side towards Sarr. Sarr couldn't control, and the ball is out of play for a Watford throw-in.
Yeah, well, most of Watford's best attacks in this game so far is from Reading mistakes. Another mistake by Reading there. Sarr giving the ball away. So it's more about getting a bit more possession for Watford, and like I said, at the moment, and why both teams are lined up, Watford need to adjust in the middle of the pitch.
Morris, and then Pollock heading forwards. Reading are there and clearing. Here's Kone. I don't think Kone has given the ball away yet for Watford. But he's getting used to life in England. Been given plenty of space in there, but he's been neat and tidy on the ball. As Derek has been saying, up against Reading's three, although Aziz is playing quite high up the pitch. Here is one of those midfielders who is deeper, Hutchinson. And now Hutchinson plays it to McIntyre. McIntyre, the two kind of holding midfielders for Reading. Both pretty experienced. Hutchinson, former Sheffield Wednesday man. McIntyre's played a few times, quite a lot of times for Watford, as Naby Sarr was just caught there by the Watford player Adu Poku. Just arrived a little bit late, but Sarr didn't make too much of a meal of it. Reading pick up once again. Challenge comes in from Ikong, good one as well. Here's Adu Poku. Poku attacking on that right-hand side, runs into blue and white traffic in the form of Baba Rahman, who's on loan from Chelsea, and also Sarr wasn't too far away. And now there is a Reading player down on the far side. I've got a feeling it's Shane Long. Derek Payne.
Yeah, I mean, Watford there, get a counter-attack, and the youngster Adi Puku, just because of his age, doesn't make the right decision. But like I said, if we're looking at the game from a big picture here. Reading obviously having the extra man, which we keep mentioning midfield. They're dominating the ball, dominating possession, but they haven't really. It's all in front of Watford, so they ain't really tested the goalkeeper. One shot he's had to deal with, and he's dealt with that, Akaye. Apart from that, they haven't tested Watford's box. So very much of both teams not really hurting each other. Most of the play in between the two 18-yard boxes.
Mateus Martins ineligible today, the Brazilian wonder kid, if you like, yet to receive his work permit. And of course there's been lots of rumours that Ferreira is joining the club, yet to be announced, that one, but Slaven Bilic, the head coach, did say yesterday that he'd been training with the club, so we'll wait to see whether that one develops. One of the new signings is playing today, Ismail Kone, and we've been fairly pleased with what we've seen, Dale. I'd like to see him put under pressure more, then to see what he's like, but at the moment everything he's done has been neat and tidy, that is for sure. Yeah,
I've been pleased with the way he started. He slowed the game down at times. I think he realises that Reading are getting most of the possession, so at times he's been clever and slowed the game down. He's moved the ball when someone's pressed him, he has moved it quickly, so he seems to be aware of when to have one touch, when to keep the ball, when to have more touches. That's something you always look for from a midfield player. Hasn't given the ball away, and I think the good thing I'm seeing from him, and we talk about leadership in players, you know, I don't think he's scared to voice his opinion. I think he knows they're outnumbered in the middle of the pitch, and he's chatting to the management, and I think so far very impressed with him, very impressed.
The news on Mateus Martins is that they don't know how long before they will get the work permit. It could be days, it could be weeks, which is a bit of a concern because Watford need all the players they can get. The most likely one back of all of the injured players for the game against Blackpool, as Shane Long continues to struggle over on that far side. You're not missing anything, the ball is still dead at the moment. Chowdhury is the closest, and Bilic is hopeful that Chowdhury will be back for the Blackpool home game in the Championship next week. And I think the one after that closest is Kayambe. But I mean, the list is just incredible. Loser, Gosling, Cleverley, Pedro is the main one, of course. Now so too is Davis, Kalu, Kabasele, Sema, Hawes. I mean, what is happening with Hawes? On loan and taking up one of the loan spots, and he hasn't been seen for 3 months. Slaven Bilic was saying that there's been a difference of opinion about whether he needs surgery or not, and he's just not been doing anything at the football club. Something has got to change on that front. Just one other goal in the FA Cup so far. He really is struggling, isn't he, Nathan Jones? They are losing 1-0 at Crystal Palace in the FA Cup. That's the only goal elsewhere. All others are 0-0. Here come Reading on this near side. It's 0-0 here as well. Good challenge from Pollock against Abrefa, but the referee has already pulled action back for an earlier foul. 37.5 minutes gone, goalless in this FA Cup third round clash.
Yeah, and again, not doing anything. They're getting near the 18-yard box, nothing happening from both teams.
Here's Aziz, thought about shooting there, but he was a fair way out. Aziz instead tried to feed Rahman. Cut out though by Watford. It was a poor pass from Aziz. Gasper was over there in that right back position. Did well in central midfield at Carrow Road. Man of the match according to the Watford social media site.
Yeah, no,
Bakuna, who's on the bench.
He was excellent at Norwich, Gasper, in that different role, centre midfield. And again, he's playing well. But this game, very much, isn't it? Very much between both 18-yard boxes, and just expecting a little bit more, maybe, from Reading. Watford quite happy to let Reading have possession. I'd like to see Watford play about 5-10 yards higher up the pitch. They're sitting so deep, it's allowing the possession, Reading to have the possession.
I've changed the bowling strength to slow to medium pace.
Yeah,
from medium pace.
Yeah, the pace of the game hasn't been electric, let's just put it that way. But like we said, lots of changes from both sides. Lots of youngsters out there for Watford. So you're going to expect it not to be a classic, but...
Well, it's the same for both teams, isn't it? Both teams have made loads of changes. They made 9, Watford have made 8, and you can understand the reasons why. There will be some football fans who'll say that the FA Cup has been diminished over the years in terms of its prestige, but the old cliche, the bread and butter is the league, and Watford want to get promoted back into the Premier League, and so that is the priority, which is what Slaven Bilic said to me yesterday. Here are Reading now knocking this ball forward to Long, who has recovered. Reading playing it into the space left-hand side. Aziz runs into it, up against Pollock. Aziz crossing in early. Okoye gets there, just palms it out. Chance for Reading, strike at goal is a terrible one. And Watford get away with it. It was Lucas Shaw who surely should have done better there. And so too should have Okoye. When that ball came in, he allowed the ball to squeeze from his grasp. And Lucas Shaw has completely pulled his shot well wide of that goal.
Yeah, and it's gifted to him from Okoye, the Watford goalkeeper. The cross comes into the box. He's come to an area. Maybe he shouldn't have come for that one. Gets his hands on it, and it's a weak push out as well. Poor decision, I think, to come in the first place. Then a weak with his palms. And Zhao, the only excuse I could give him for that miss is he hasn't had a sighter so far, and it's 40 minutes gone, but
I think that's being very kind, Derek.
I'm being very kind to him because he's in the box. He's got the whole goal to hit, and he's just scuffed it well wide. But comes from a mistake from Okoye, the goalkeeper.
Sirialta volleys away up towards Hungbo. Hasn't quite got into the game yet. The 3 forwards doing their best out there, but it's difficult, as you'd imagine. Here's Asprilla in central midfield. Asprilla looks up, wants to find the pass for Morris. Decent one as well. We'll come to Morris. I'm not sure he's kept it in play, has he? No, it's just gone out as he tried to loop it over the head of the defender. Throwing to Reading. Adu Poku is 17 years old and 100 days. Oh, to be that age again, Del. Well, what about Amas, 15?
Well, it'd be amazing if he gets on the pitch. A 15-year-old, that would be amazing, and the youngest ever for Watford. But it's hard for them front three. They're the 3 youngsters of the Watford side.
Yeah.
And they are looking a little bit blunt, but also Watford are playing really deep. So then when they are getting the ball, they're not in the areas that they would want to be in that last third. Them 3 young Watford players.
Reading have it once again. Just watching Kone, who just is drifting a bit more forwards now. Reading have it left-hand side, looking to cross in, and they win a corner kick, which is okay. But when Watford don't have the ball, it leaves almost Asprilla as the deepest player. Yeah,
well, him and Asprilla have matched up reasonably well. They're passing to each other well, and they seem to have a good understanding already. But like you said, I think it's more the defence need to squeeze up a little bit because it's too hard for them 2 central midfielders.
Corner kick again. Dan is the target, Sarr as well, but it goes over the top of the pair of them and out of play for a throw-in. 0-0. Reading versus Watford. The home side with the 2 best opportunities. Aziz's strike was saved at his near post by Okoye, and then Okoye's error just a few moments ago allowed Zhao to have an effort which was well wide of goal. Watford haven't really tested Buzanis, but they've done okay so far, this Watford young team, but they're defending here, and it's Aziz again causing problems. Clearance from Sirialta goes into midfield. Good challenge comes in from Kone, very strong one as well from Kone. Now he makes the break, and Kone gets away from a couple of players, still goes down that left hand side. Challenge comes in, and there we see a bit more of Ismail Kone. Yeah, good strong challenge and burst forwards.
He's been excellent in his first half. I love that in his own half. Wins the tackle, knows to burst forward because there's players around him, and then he gets tackled in their half, so he drove forward with the ball. He's made the right decision so far, Kone. When to dribble, when to pass, and he's done really well. He's athletic, he's strong, lot to like, just put it that way, without going overboard.
Yep.
Because we know the game. It's not a championship game, but yeah, he looks like he knows what he's doing, I'll put it that way.
Pause in play again because Scott Dan just caught Asprilla in the face with one of those sort of loose arms coming up and just sticking into the face of Yasser Asprilla, and he is down. I'm sure he'll be okay, just needs a bit of treatment. Southampton have equalised against Crystal Palace, Nathan Jones' side. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 1. Elsewhere, Gillingham 0, Leicester 0. Division 2 versus Premier League. Preston 0, Huddersfield 0. All Championship tie that one. And it's Tottenham 0, Portsmouth 0. So Pompey from the First Division holding Premier League Tottenham. Here it's 0-0, Reading versus Watford. Asprilla's going to get a little bit more treatment off the pitch. We've got the non-league show at 3 o'clock with Ollie. Updates on Bournemouth versus Accrington Stanley. And then at 5:30, commentary of Luton versus Wigan on digital radio and BBC Sport Online, like this one is on all of our frequencies and BBC Sport Online. This one, Reading versus Watford, it's goalless so far. Stevenage away to Aston Villa tomorrow is online too, and on 95.5 FM and 103.8 FM, 4:30 tomorrow for Stevenage at Villa. What a tie that one is for Steve Evans' team. As Reading have possession in the left back area, we've got 3 seconds left, but 3 minutes of stoppage time. There should be a lot more than 3 minutes, because this has been paused quite a few times, this one. Reading have it in central midfield, and it's going to fall for them from the attempted clearance. Looking to get a shot away here. They should do as well. Across goal, far post, they're going to put it in. Offside. But it's offside. It was Aziz who thought he had scored from a Brefa's cross into the box, but Aziz looked offside at the far post. He was offside, and Watford are just trying to work out how that was allowed to occur. It was Mbengu who seemed to have a lot of space outside the box, and then fed Brefa. His cross in, met at the far post by Aziz, but offside. Yeah,
they just worked it from left to right, and they used the extra man in midfield that we've talked about all half, and they get it from left to right quickly, and then Asprilla on the right hand side takes too long, gets his shot, does the right thing, goes across goal, and Aziz, the one that's getting all the space, doesn't time his run. If he times his run, he gets a tap in at the back post, so it's poor from him that he doesn't time it. And the right-sided winger takes too long to get his shot off, but they worked it well. They used that extra man in midfield, left to right. And I think if Aziz times that run a lot better, he would have had that tap in, but he just goes too early, fortunately for Watford.
Into stoppage time, we've got 3 minutes of it then, here on BBC Three Counties Radio. Watford goalless against Reading, but it's the Royals who've had the best chances in this first half. Hornets haven't really threatened Dean Bouzanis in the Reading goal, who's clearing up now under pressure from Michael Adupoku. Here's Ekong now. Ekong forwards to Hungbo. Hungbo just fouled in the back by Sarr there. Looked like Sarr may have won a little bit of the ball, but Hungbo is given the benefit of the doubt. Free kick to Watford.
Yeah, I'm sure Watford will want to get in. Obviously 0-0. Although it hasn't been a classic game of the two teams, Reading have come closest.
Asprilla loses possession on the halfway line. Just tried to beat his man on the half turn, but didn't come off. So Reading have it once again on this near side. They now give the ball away. Yasser Asprilla is in there. Just tried to poke it away from the midfielder. Didn't quite come off. And so Reading have it once again with Brefa, who crosses in, and it's gone in! Okoye looked to tip it over the bar. He was under pressure, backpedaling, but I think he left it a bit too late. And the fullback, well, the wing-back Brefa has scored. It's a lucky goal. It was an attempted cross, and Okoye is at fault, backpedaling, couldn't keep it out, and underneath his own net, only put it into the roof of the net. It's Reading 1, Watford 0.
Yeah, it's a cross that ends up in the back of the net at the back post. Freya on the right hand side, he's the one that's been getting the space as the game's gone on, but the goalkeeper Okoye will not be happy with it. I think his body shape's wrong when the cross is. He's gone to cross it in. Freya on this right hand side, he's gone to cross it in. It's ended up top corner of the opposite post, but Okoye, I think, gets it all wrong. He thinks he's already gambled that it's going to come into the 6-yard box, and by the time his body weight's the wrong way, can't get back and he can't claw the ball out. So it's a lucky goal for Reading, but I still would be asking questions of Watford's goalkeeper Okoye.
Kelvin Brefa with the goal, and a lucky one. I mean, to be fair to Okoye. It was right in the corner at the far post. It was right in the corner, but you'd still want your goalkeeper saving it.
Yeah, he might be unfortunate because it's meant to be a cross, and it's ended up going in the top-hand corner of the opposite post. I'm not sure whether he's gambled. We have to see a replay whether he's gambled first and come and then gone back, and I might be being too critical of Okoye. We'll see the replay, I'm sure, sometime, and I might be being too critical of him, but for me, I think he gambles and comes for the cross, and then it's hard for him to get back. But it's a lucky goal for Reading, but of the two teams, they've been the team that deserved it, because they caused more problems for Watford in the last third.
I don't think you've been too... I think a goalkeeper would expect to make that save. Yes, it was such a bad cross. It ended up being a very good one, if you like, because it went right into the top corner. Breffer was just trying to get it into the 6-yard box, but he connected too well and too hard, and it angled itself right into the far corner with Okoye backpedaling. He got a fingertip to it, but he could only push it back into the roof of the net. But still, he probably should have gone back quicker to then tip it over the bar.
Yeah, I think his footwork, I haven't seen the replay, and it's like, to describe it, is it's this cross that's ended up right in the top corner of the opposite post. So even if he's in the right position, he still wouldn't be easy, but he should still save it. I think his feet don't move quick enough, and also I think he comes anticipating the cross before the players even hit the ball. I might be totally wrong. I'm not a goalkeeper, an expert, but it didn't look like he started. I think he's gambled. He thinks it's going to be a cross, which it looked like it was going to be, but you can't gamble. You've got to wait till the players struck the ball, and ends up in the back of the net. But we'll get a replay of it. My first impressions was it's a goalkeeping error. I might be totally wrong.
And Watford in general, Derek, how do you assess that opening 45 minutes?
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed more in the experienced players, because you've got two at the back in Siriauta and Akong, and Pollock's there on the left-hand side. But they're playing so deep that it's hard for Watford to get up the pitch, and they're outnumbered in the middle pitch. And the one thing, I was central midfielder, the one thing, if your team's deep and then you're outnumbered in the middle of the pitch, it's very hard for you to get on the ball. So I'm a little bit disappointed that they're sitting so deep, because it's allowing Reading to have all the possession, and I feel sorry for Blake up front, Adipoku and Hungbo, because when they are getting the ball, they're near the halfway line, and them three are not being able to show their talent in the last third, and it all comes from being too deep and also being outnumbered in the middle of the pitch. So that's where I'm disappointed, that Watford are kind of allowing Reading the possession, sitting deep, and it's hard then for you to get any decent opportunities on the opposition's goal because of them reasons I just said.
So a late goal in this FA Cup third round tie then at the Select Car Leasing Stadium, and it's come to the home team, who do deserve it. I mean, Watford haven't had a chance with the Reading goalkeeper Dean Bouzanis not having a save to make in that opening 45 minutes. Reading have come close on a couple of occasions, and they have got their goal right at the end of that first half. A Breffer scoring a lucky goal, which was an attempted cross, and Okoye couldn't keep it out. Half-time scoreline then here in Berkshire is Reading 1, Watford 0.
Every Saturday evening from 8 on BBC Three Counties Radio, BBC Introducing.
BBC Introducing is where the best local music is played on air for the first time. Tom Grennan, Declan McKenna, Griff, Alfie Templeman, they're some of the biggest names in British music now, but they started right here on BBC Music Introducing.
I wouldn't be anywhere without BBC Introducing.
Are you making music? Do you want it played on the BBC? Then send it to us. If we like it, you could end up on the radio. Head to bbc.co.uk/introducing.
The very best in unsigned music from across beds, cards and bugs. BBC Three Counties Radio. BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's cross to Jeff Doyle. Jeff, that was fun.
I mean, this is the thing. Is it's in a funny way, it's a bit sad, isn't it? Though,
yes,
Luke, that the FA Cup has sort of come to this, where you know, you and I are of a certain age where the FA Cup, when we were kids, was like the competition, wasn't it? I mean, I know it's the early stages, but it's not so much that all the changes are made. I accept that and I understand it. And Watford have got a legitimate excuse. They've got so many players out, so many injuries, and the ones that are fit, he doesn't want to risk because they don't have anyone else to call upon. So he said, I'm not going to risk players who, even if they are fit. So you understand that.
Yeah.
And Reading, to a certain extent, you can understand as well. I mean, they're kind of mid-table in the Championship, but the way it is, they're not far from the playoffs. I mean, they're only 4 points from Watford, Reading.
And they've got 1 or 2 injury problems as well.
And they have, yeah. And also, they might be looking over their shoulders thinking as well, we don't want to go on a run and get sucked into, a little bit of a relegation scrap.
Yeah.
And so you can understand that they've got a thought that says we've got to stay in the Championship. That is the priority. So we will rest loads of players today.
But it doesn't make for a good game, does it? It doesn't make for a great entertainment.
And I kind of accept that, but then what I struggle a little bit with, but I suppose the players who are playing are then thinking, right, well, this is makeshift, and we've got a load of youngsters, and we've got players who aren't used to each other. Sakone's not used to anyone. The 2 youngsters aren't used to anyone. Same applies for Reading, and that's why the pace is so slow. That's why the tempo isn't there. That's why there aren't biting challenges, and it just seems all a bit slow and all a little bit pre-season. That's what is the annoyance more than anything else. And this is the FA Cup third round. I think that's probably what I'm trying to get at.
Jeff, just while you're there, I just wanted to have a quick word about Gianluca Vialli, and you and me will both remember him as a player and as a manager. What a player, first and foremost. What a talent, almost effortless with the way he played football.
Yeah, and we watched him when we were younger, and he was a fantastic player. I mean, in Italy, and those were the days where, Italian football, we used to watch it on the box, didn't we?
Yeah.
Serie A was big then, and he was a big part of that. And, Juventus, what a player he was with them, and for Italy, and he won Serie A titles, he won Champions League titles. And then, of course, he was one of the first ones, wasn't he, Vialli, who came over from Italy to England and played with Chelsea back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
I can't think who was before him, but he was one of the really early ones with Hullitz and some of those lot. And, and then he did brilliantly with Chelsea as a player. He then became player manager and, he won events with the London club. He was big business. Yeah. And the way he played, he had a smile on his face. He was a real gentleman, wasn't he, out on the pitch?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he was a great character too. So, and I spoke to him quite a lot when he came over to Watford as well. I was at Three Counties then. It didn't work out for him, but even then he was a real character. So really sad because, he has been really unwell for a while. So, fondly remembered by those Watford fans away to my right-hand side a little bit earlier.
Jeff, super stuff. Thank you very much for that. And absolutely, what Jeff was saying was spot on. Gianluca Vialli died yesterday at the age of 58. He was described by Graham Souness as a gorgeous soul, a wonderful footballer and a warm human being. And, whenever you came into contact with him, there was a calmness and a little smile that always, you always felt calm in his presence. He was one of those people. Let's hear from the Watford manager, Slaven Bilic. Then full second half commentary to come, of course, from our featured FA Cup game this afternoon. Former Chelsea striker, manager, of course, played 59 times for Italy. Gianluca Vialli, head coach Slaven Bilic, has been remembering the former legendary forward.
It's a sad day, I'm not talking that as a Watford manager, although he was at Watford, so he was part of our club, and the club should be also proud that one of truly football legends was with Watford, no matter how big the club is. I can't say that he was my friend. I didn't know him personally, but I'm sad, because he's like Vialli. Vialli is like, when you say Vialli, that you mean world-class footballer in every sense of that word. World-class player, done everything with Italy, Juventus, Sampdoria, everything. Partnership with Mancini. When you say Mancini, you have to say Vialli. When you say Vialli, you have to say Mancini. And I'm not Italian. You know what I mean? Chelsea, national team, captain of Juve. And then as a person, the people who... I never have read anything bad about him. Scandals or this, so very polite. And everybody who was talking, and I know a lot of people who played with him. And I know a lot of people, well, he's only four years older. So... we are not the same generation, but we are. more or less. And I know some of my friends played with him. I played against him, with him. They're saying that he's like one of the biggest gentlemen that was among the football players. And to know that he fought with that cancer for 5 years, you go, why? You know what I mean? He's one of the guys who deserve to live for centuries, So I'm very sad. But today, true legend, after Pele, to lose Vialli. Okay, Vialli is, somebody will say that cold and whatever wise, Vialli is not Pele. Vialli is not Pele, but Vialli goes to he was one of the Peles of his generation. He was the true top footballer of his generation, on the pitch and off the pitch.
Yes, Slaven Bilic there, remembering Gianluca Vialli, who we sadly lost, the world of football has sadly lost yesterday, 58 years old. It's no age, is it? Absolutely no age at all. Great memories of watching Vialli. You're listening to Three Counties Sport on BBC Three Counties Radio across Beds, Herts and Bucks. Full second half commentary to come from the Bodaiski Stadium shortly. First, the travel news is Jonathan.
Thank you, Luke. And just out of our patch, actually, but it's definitely worth mentioning, there's a lane closed and it's slow. That's due to an accident involving a car. That's on the M40 southbound between Junction 9 for Bicester and Junction 8A for Oxford Services, Tame and Aylesbury. In the High Wycombe area, it's heavy on the A40 Abbey Way for High Wycombe. Elsewhere in the Hemel Hempstead area, it's stop-start traffic on the A414 Breakspear Way and St Albans Road. That's around Leverstock Greenway. Hitchin area, it's very slow on the A505 Offley Road. That's as you head east before the A602 Parkway. St Albans area, it's heavy on Harpenden Road. That's around Sandridgebury Lane. And also it's queuing on Hollywell Hill, Checker Street and St Peter Street. That's as you head into St Albans, adding on around 6 minutes to your journey there. Elsewhere, it's queuing on Eastbury Road. That's eastbound for Pinner Road for the Bushy Arches. And on public transport, well, lots of disruption due to industrial action and engineering works. Some of them include, well, services are only running on Great Northern between King's Cross and Stevenage and between King's Cross and Ely. No services on Great Northern and Thameslink between King's Cross and St Neots, and also between King's Cross and Letchworth Garden City. Services are only running on Thameslink between London Bridge and Brighton, and between St Pancras and Luton, and also between St Pancras and Peterborough. Buses run instead of trains on Chiltern Railways. That's between Princes Risborough and Aylesbury. But if you know of a problem that we're not reporting, you can call Three Counties now on 08081 00 8800.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yep, Jonathan will be back and we'll get as much travel news to you as we possibly can today with everything that's going on, a mixture of kick-off times. And of course, if you are listening now thinking, why is Luke on now, not 2 o'clock? Well, we've just swapped everything around today. Ollie will be taking over at 3. So we've got theoretically 2 programmes, 12 until 3 until... kind of 8 o'clock on certain frequencies, but Ollie's going to explain that to you later on. Right now, it's second half commentary of the game between Reading and Watford. At 3 o'clock, Ollie will take over with the non-league show, plus reports from Boreham Wood against Accrington Stanley, and then the Luton FA Cup game is a little bit later on. Right now, though,
every Watford game live on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm not sure I even understood myself what I was just saying, if I'm brutally honest. At various points during this commentary, Jeff will explain it as well. He's slightly more coherent than me today. I've lost the inability to talk properly. I think I better cross to the ground. Derek and Jeff.
Thank you very much, Luke. I'll let you know what's happening. Just lots of FA Cup football for you this weekend. That's all you need to know. There are going to be changes at half-time, 22 and 4 for the home team. I'll run through those as they happen. Loom is going to come on for Hutchinson in midfield, and Watford are going to make a couple of substitutions. Bakuna is coming on, and so too is Ryan Andrews, the 18-year-old. So let's just try and work out who those two are coming on for.
I think Gasper will be one.
Yeah, Gasper.
And Adrian Blake.
So Blake and Gasper off, and Bakuna and Andrews on.
Yeah, great to see Ryan Andrews, young Ryan Andrews. His dad, Wayne Andrews, played for Watford. No Wayne. Makes me feel very old that his son's out there, but great to see that his son's getting an opportunity.
He's going to play right wing back, isn't he, Andrews? So he's replaced Gasper at right wing back, and Bacuna will go into central midfield, which will then presumably just give them that extra one in the middle there, Del.
Well, we talked all first half about them, Reading having the extra man in there, and now Watford have put Bacuna in there to even it up. So let's see what happens now. Watford should get more possession.
Should get more of the ball
than what they had in the first half.
Yeah, here's Hungbo, and Hungbo was just held back by Sarr there, and that was, how is that not a free kick? The referee's given a goal kick. But, I mean, Hungbo has probably had his best little spell of possession there, took on Sarr, got round him, and Sarr's just dragged him back and stopped him going past him.
I wouldn't mind, the referee was 3 yards away, you should see that. Sarr, the big lad, left side of centre half, gets beat by Hungbo, good little flick round him and just pulls him to the ground. Referee 3 yards away, doesn't give it. But like we said, Bacuna going into midfield, evens it up in midfield now, so I don't expect Reading to dominate the possession as much as they did in the first half, and it's a positive change from Slaven Bilic.
So second half underway then. Reading 1, Watford 0. Double substitution from the Hornets. Loom has come on for Hutchinson in central midfield for the home side, and Watford with the double substitution. Ryan Andrews, the 18-year-old at right wing back, comes on for Gasper, who's given a rest, and Bacuna comes on just to get 45 minutes from him. Remember, he's still trying to get up to full match sharpness. Comes into central midfield and replaces Blake. So Watford have an extra midfielder and one less attacker. It means that Adu Poku is up front now with Hungbo pretty much. Bacuna's reasonably high for the midfielder. In comes across from Reading, headed away by Ikong. Reading getting out to the left-hand side, and Rahman for the Royals just prods it forwards, wants it back again, gets it back again. Rahman looking to cross, and it's a wild one and will go out of play. Yes, it will, over on that far side for a Watford goal kick. So a Koye in goal for Watford. Back three, Pollock, Siriauta and Ikong. Wing backs are Morris and Ryan Andrews. Midfield of Bacuna, Kone and Asprilla. Up front, Adu Poku and Hungbo. The bench for Watford, Ben Hamer the goalkeeper, Harry Amas, who's 15 years old, will become the youngest ever player, beating the record of Keith Mercer in 1973. Jack Greaves also on the bench, and Emmanuel Adiemo plus Damani Hunter. It's 1-0 to Reading. And the player they brought on, Loom, is again another kind of what you would call, I don't know, describe as a first team squad player. Featured for Reading a fair bit this season. He's on loan from Porto, 25 years old, from Senegal. Reading attack down the left-hand side. Watford probably don't want a replay, I wouldn't have thought, with so many injuries. Quite a few games coming up in the next couple of months. Not that they're playing kind of Saturday midweek so much, it's just the crippling injuries situation that they have, so they don't want another game in there. As Reading go backwards to centre-half, Dan. And now Dan out to that right-hand side. Here's the goal scorer, Abrefa. Backwards they go, Reading. And Watford are trying to win that ball over on that far side. And the challenge comes in from Morris, which was pretty good. Wins the throw. Some of the Reading fans thought it was a foul. Here's Kone in midfield. Kone's got a couple of blue and white shirts around him. Gets shut down a bit quicker than he has done. Unable to get the better of those two. Reading knocked the ball out of play over on the far side.
Yeah, the second half hasn't took any sort of pattern yet. Both teams getting tight to each other. Obviously, we mentioned Watford going free in midfield, so all matched up now. Both teams playing 3-5-2. Sometimes that means cancelling each other out, especially in these early stages, scrappy. But at least Watford getting more of the ball, should get more of the ball.
Kone gets the better of Aziz there. Watford clear up, the pass just about find its target. Here's Kone again in midfield, just got whacked by Aziz. Get used to that, Ismail. Here come Watford now, edge of the penalty area, a little layoff towards Bacuna, didn't quite find him. But Watford win it back again with Morris into the penalty area. Hungbo goes down, referee has a look and says no, and points to a goal kick. Hungbo is probably a bit of a 50-50 shoulder barge, and you don't normally see those ones given, although Hungbo is questioning it. We'll see a replay of it. Little challenge came in, and I think he got enough of the ball there, Mbengu. Just a little nick. It was more of a challenge than actually a shoulder barge that Watford felt was a foul, not given by Peter Banks.
Good by Andrews on the right hand side though. He drove forward and then played the ball from right hand side across, used pace and power down the right hand side, winning the ball up high.
Bakuna does well, wins that ball, and then the cross comes in and it's a poor one. Bakuna is now holding his hamstring, which is a worry. Oh, this is not going to be another hamstring injury, is it? This is unbelievable, Derek. It's unbelievable.
Right. Well, I can't. I'm lost for words, which I usually ain't, as people know me, but...
he's down on the floor.
He's gone down on the floor, Bakuna, and just come on the pitch. Been on the pitch 5 minutes.
Reading still have possession. They're not stopping. It's not a head injury. It's a muscle injury. Reading still have possession with Sarr. Backwards it goes to Dan. The medical team are waiting for him, but I don't think he's going to be able to carry on here. And Bakuna is holding his hamstring, his right hamstring. This could be the 4th consecutive hamstring injury in a row for Watford. Reading pick up on the left-hand side. He's stayed down still. Reading still have possession. He's going to have to come off. He's been on for 6 minutes. Tried to cross in from the right-hand side and he felt it straight away. Are they being played too much, some of these players? As Morris does now knock the ball out of play far side, and Bakuna can get treated. But he can't carry on here, can he, Del?
Well, the way he's got down straight to the hamstring. Physios are talking to him. The only thing, he can't... You would think he should come off. The way he's gone down, and then messing around with the hamstring, I see. Can't be cramped. He's been on 5 minutes, so it can't be that. And I would be taking him off. Wouldn't be taking no chances. The only thing you can say is the experienced player, Bakuna, if he felt something, because as you get more older you learn, if you feel something you're going to go down and you get yourself off the pitch, and I think that's what he's done. He said he knows straight away he's done something and he's gone down, he's getting himself off the pitch. But tough one for Watford with all the injuries. Another central midfielder.
So
it's unbelievable.
Now they at the club have one central midfielder, and that's Ismail Kone.
Exactly, one fit central midfielder.
But Yasser Asprilla possibly could describe him as a central midfielder. He's more of an attacking midfielder, though.
Yeah.
This is hamstring.
Yeah.
His hamstring's gone. He's holding the back of his hamstring. He's holding the area of his hamstring.
You know, I mean, it's just unbelievable the luck that Watford are getting in, and it's the central midfield area again.
Maybe you call it luck, Del. Is it luck?
Well, someone of his experience, if he hasn't warmed up properly, and I can't be putting that to him because I'm sure he has warmed up properly. So I ain't got the answer, Jeff. If I had the answer, I'll be a millionaire, mate, because
Jack Greaves is coming on for him. That's the end of Bakuna. And then there was one central midfielder. 14 injured players Watford have now, as Jack Greaves makes his debut, 18-year-old. Watford clear that throw-in. He's the great-grandson of Skilly Williams, who played 100 years ago for the club. What a story that is. Jack Greaves, I think he featured earlier in the season. Did he feature earlier in the season against MK Dons? He might have been on the bench anyway that day, or that evening.
No, it's great to see another youngster get an opportunity.
He's gone into central midfield, the 18-year-old. So 2 18-year-olds in central midfield, Del.
His dad would be very proud. I think I know his dad, who played non-league level, and he'd be very proud to see his son out there, and it's great to see.
What a young team it is now. It's getting younger as the game progresses, which we thought might be the case from the off, actually. But now Watford have basically got 3 experienced centre-halves, and that's about it. Reading have it on this left-hand side.
Well, that is
much more experienced team the Royals have at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. definitely. But Greaves has gone into the midfield area, so he's sticking to the change of formation that he done at half time. Slaven Bilic got a free in the midfield area. But it's a huge loss, obviously, with that experience, and Reading just passing the ball around. I think just take Watford 5 minutes to adjust, and then hopefully they'll start getting themselves more of the possession. But Reading quite comfortable at the moment of just passing the ball around.
Here's a ball over the top, Long heads it backwards, and it's Zhao there around the D area. Lucas Zhao, Aziz made a run off of him. It's with Rahman now, left hand side for Reading, who are one up. Watford with another injury issue with Bakuna. Here's Rachman, left hand side, crossing in, good one as well towards Zhao, half cleared by Watford, edge of the penalty area. Shoot, say the crowd. It's Watford unable to get it down, ball into the box, and Okoye is going to gather that one, and Okoye deals with that one.
Yeah, ends up nothing from Reading there, but it was a good long ball for Dan into Long. Long sets his strike partner Zhao, but instead of him shooting, they go wide, and Watford defend it well. Get bodies man to man in the box, nothing comes of it. Nice easy catch for Okoye when it comes into the box.
Reading in possession. Good play there from Espria winning the ball. Here's Hungbo now. Hungbo, a few yellow shirts going bombing forwards, but Reading have got the ball back to their goalkeeper, who is going to clear. Bouzanis. Watford have it again. Player in the Watford half who's, which I think just taking off some of his strapping there, Lucas Zhao. Watford have it with a Kong, and a Kong now square to Pollock. It's only 1-0. Watford still in this game, certainly not out of it, with 11.5 minutes gone in the second half. Hungbo now goes backwards to Pollock, and now Siriauta. We'll hear from the manager, head coach Slaven Bilic, at some point this afternoon, perhaps between 2:30 and 3 with Luke, or maybe even during the non-league show with Ollie at 3. Topsy-turvy Saturday afternoon for us today, so the non-league show coming a bit later because of this FA Cup kick-off on all of our frequencies today. So digital radio is your best bet. Here's Espria now. Espria, in fact, dummies it for Andrews. Andrews on this right-hand side. Little cross in with him with his left foot. Reading head it clear. Andrews looking to pick up that next ball and does so. Here's Kone in midfield. Kone out to the right-hand side. Espria not there. And the ball rolls out for a throw into Reading.
Yeah, good little spell though for Watford. A couple minutes on the ball. And that come from pressing from the young lad Hungbo, and they win the ball back, and then they've had a couple minutes on the ball when they're in the Reading half, and that just give them a little bit more belief. Greaves coming into midfield as well, so they've got energy in that area. And if they can win the ball up high, which they have done on a couple of occasions, it's then whether the youngsters up top can convert them turnovers.
Here's Pollock. Just stabs it forwards to Kone. Just approaching the halfway line is the Canadian. Kone goes backwards. Featured as a sub for Canada at the World Cup and impressed. Was playing non-league football in Montreal, 9-10 months ago. But was scouted and very immediately made it into the Montreal team. And became a key player for them, and then suddenly got an international call-up with Canada. They liked what they saw when he started doing well with Montreal, and then having had a good World Cup, he was then signed by Watford as Morris goes in a bit late over on that far side, and Morris is going to get booked here. Just caught a breath for the goal scorer. It's a strong challenge, and I think Morris is going to go in the book for that one. Peter Banks, the referee, having a word with him, and Morris is going to get booked. 1-0 Reading lead. Yeah,
it comes. Sprea gives him a poor pass to Morris, middle of the pitch, and he just overhits the pass, and Morris is then in a 50-50, and he goes in wholeheartedly. Gets the yellow card, but I thought he's just gone in strong. A bit unfortunate, but the pass was too wrong from Sprea then. But Kone and Sprea got an understanding middle of the pitch. They got extra help in there with Greaves, and the game has got a lot more even in possession-wise.
So, Watford with another injury in central midfield, Leandro Bakuna. Ben Manga has his work cut out, the technical director who's in charge of transfers these days at Watford. Going to have to look for central midfielders. I mean, the signing that we think has been made is the right back, Ferreira, who's training with the club. But Watford have already got 2 right backs. They need central midfielders more than anything else, and they need them quickly, and they need them now, because that game is coming up against Blackpool this time next week. And at the moment, it's looking like Kone and Gaspar, unless Chowdhury will be ready to start. But is that a risk, starting Chowdhury? Again, these things are going to have to be factored in. That's probably what's happened where they've played players that perhaps they shouldn't have done. Kone's going to take the free kick. It's a poor one from him. And is saved by the goalkeeper, who gathered that one easily enough.
Yeah.
Bouzanis.
Yeah, disappointing set piece. That's the opportunity to put them under pressure, and Kone overhits it straight to the goalkeeper. But again, that's the one thing we haven't seen from him. He has a through ball from him seeking out a runner, but he hasn't had that in front of him so far. But it's a poor free kick from him.
1-0 Reading lead on BBC Three Counties Radio, BBC Sport Online as well. Commentary via your tablet or via your phone today, because we can bring you this FA Cup match. We can't normally do that in the league games, but love bringing you it to online, so you can hear us on your phone or your tablet if you're out and about. Reading player is down injured over on the far side, so we've got another pause in play. It's been quite stop-start this match. We've got online commentary of Luton versus Wigan later as well, plus on DAB at 5:30, and we've got online commentary of Aston Villa versus Stevenage tomorrow from 4:30, plus that one's on 95.5 FM and 103.8 FM. Watford supporters enjoying a bit of banter with the Reading fans. They're situated behind that goal to our right-hand side, the Watford supporters. Normally would take up one section, but as it's the FA Cup, they've got a bigger allocation, so they're taking up 2 sections of it. Got to be over 2,000 supporters, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's 2,000 plus.
Yeah.
Great effort from them supporters, and just hope Watford can give them something to cheer about.
I think they'd be quite pleased to see some of the younger players, Del.
Yeah, of course.
All fans like to see young players given an opportunity, so they've seen Adu Poku, they've seen Adrian Blake, they're now seeing Greaves, they're seeing Andrews, Hungbo to a certain extent, they're seeing a new signing, Kone, as Watford deal with this down in that right-back area, and in fact one of the younger players is fouled, Ryan Andrews, and this is going to be a free kick for Watford. Adu Poku 17, Blake 17, he's been subbed, Asprilla 18, Kone's 20, James Morris 21, Andrews 18, Jack Greaves 18. There's a lot of young players out there.
Yeah, definitely, and good to see Andrews has done well, coming on the right hand side, started the game well. Greaves has had a couple of little turns, he's doing well. And Adi Puku up top is working his socks off, really running around, working hard, getting stuck in, and at times causing them centre-halves problems. So credit to them youngsters, showing good energy and good commitment.
Well, the only noise we've heard today is from the Watford fans, so credit them. Reading have been very quiet over on the far side. I mean, it's not that far a journey, obviously, for Hornet supporters, just around the M25 and down the M4, hour and 20 minutes away or so, as Reading have it in defence and will clear up towards Long. Pollock is there. Pollock heads that one out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. It's still 1-0 to Reading. Watford's still in the game. They just need to now try and get some chances, because Bouzanis hasn't really had anything to do. Elsewhere, Palace 1, Southampton 1. Leicester have taken the lead away at Gillingham, the Premier League side against the second division club. All square between Preston and Huddersfield, 1-1. And Tottenham have taken the lead against Portsmouth, 1-0. FA Cup clashes in the third round. Reading throwing over on the far side. Not quite as dark grey as it was earlier. Watford win that ball, but then give it away again. Reading have it with Mbenge. Down that right-hand side it goes. Long is going to cross in. Headed away by Sirialta. Reading pick up the pieces. Edge of the area. Aziz now gives it to Zhao. Zhao strikes. Little touch off of Sirialta and goes behind for a corner kick to Reading.
Yeah, Reading just winning that second ball around the edge of the box. And then Aziz, who has that forward rolls, just cuts his ball back to Zhao, who's in the box, And I think it's good defending by Siriauta in the end to get the block in. But it just comes from a headed clearance and they just win the second ball, Reading, and Zhao is in the box. Good little ball by Aziz. Good block from Siriauta, I believe.
Reading, corner kick, and it comes now. Headed away well by Pollock, who commands that penalty area nicely. Goal that Reading are kicking towards, completely empty, away to our left-hand side. Watford supporters to our right. And Hornets can't keep the ball in over on the far side. Kone just stretched his legs and then with a lunging slide towards keeping the ball in play, couldn't quite manage to do so. Reading throw in over on the far. 65 minutes gone. Reading 1, Watford 0. Derek Payne and myself, Jeff Doyle, with you this Saturday afternoon. Blackpool up next weekend at home at Vicarage Road in the Championship. Huge game for Watford. And then it's Rotherham at home following that one. So opportunities for Watford to pick up points. But they have another injury problem in central midfield with Leandro Bacuna taken off with what looked like another hamstring injury, the 4th in a row for Watford. They couldn't have played him if they'd have known that there might have been a risk of that happening. Here are Reading winning the ball on the halfway line, and they'll play it further forwards to Pedro, towards Zhao, sorry. Wish it was Zhao Pedro, but he's going to be out for quite a while. Here's Sarr now. Former Huddersfield centre-half. Asprilla in midfield leaves it for Kone, but Kone can't deal with it. Not quite been as neat and tidy as he was in the first half, Kone. He's been put under a little bit more pressure now. Reading have it on the halfway line with McIntyre. McIntyre just prods it forwards to Sarr. Sarr on the left-hand side for Reading, coming forwards, blue and white stripes. In comes his cross. Free header it could be. Good backpedaling from Siriauta, does well. And no, sorry, it was Pollock, wasn't it? It's probably saved a certain goal there because Zhao was on his own inside the 6-yard box, but Pollock backpedaled and got to the ball first. In midfield, the ball is won well, and the fans like it by Jack Greaves. Ball drops down and Siriauta will go back to his goalkeeper. They like to see that battling from their youngsters, and they saw it there, sliding tackle from Greaves.
Really good from Greaves, middle of the pitch. Ball that he shouldn't be getting to, he gets the tackle in. And the youngsters have added that, and great defending from Pollock. First of all, he gets underneath the ball, but then he gets back and gets the blocking of Zhao, because it's a good ball in from the left-hand side, and Zhao would have had a free header. So good defending at one end and then winning the tackle in the middle of the pitch. It's definitely a lot tighter in this second half, but that young Watford side will probably tire.
Some of them have come on in this second half at half time, so should have the legs, but the other ones who started probably will. Another good ball winning piece of play from Greaves there. Now Watford play it up towards striker Adupuku, who couldn't quite keep hold of it. He's up against some experienced players, Adupuku, so it's hard for him today as Reading clip a ball over the top to Zhao. Zhao against Siriauta. Zhao just holds him off and goes backwards to Aziz. Aziz back to Zhao. Zhao just outside the D is challenged, and Watford get another block in. Greaves wins the first one, doesn't quite win the second one. Reading pick it up over on that right-hand side. Abrefa looking to cross in again, how he scored in that first half. Palmed away by goalkeeper Okoye, who again has this tendency not to catch the ball as it comes across his goal. Just sort of pushed it away with both hands. Ekong wins the ball coming out of defence, then can't win the second one. Shane Long has played a ball into the box left-hand side. Siriauta alongside him. Long goes backwards. A few tackles are flying in now. This game is now getting a little bit messy and a little bit tighter as Hungbo is surely fouled, and this is going to be a free kick to Watford, and it's likely to be a booking for the Reading player.
Yeah, it's getting very competitive, and a couple of times in the youngsters of Watford just being out-muscled, which you expect. They've got a lot of experience in their side, Reading. And now they're going to add a lot more experience with bringing on Carroll. And we know what they'll probably do now. With Andy Carroll coming on the pitch, they'll be hitting balls into that box. And interestingly, they're leaving Zhao on, I think.
They're taking Aziz off, aren't they?
Yeah, interesting.
So they're going to have Carroll, Zhao and Long as a 3 up top, which means that they'll only have the 2 in central midfield, so they must feel comfortable that those 2 will be OK, McIntyre and Loom.
Yeah, and you've got to be honest, in the middle pitch, I think with Bacuna going off, you've got two youngsters, Kone and then Asprilla and Greaves has done well. Got a couple good tackles. It also showed a good turn, but them youngsters against a couple of men in there. But we know what's going to come now with Andy Carroll on the pitch. They'll go more direct, Reading. But it might work into Watford's favour if they can defend their box. Like you said, it's gone more even defensively now. Watford will have more players in and around midfield to maybe pick up them second balls.
You could argue, Derek, that Reading have gone stronger bringing on Andy Carroll.
Well, definitely, yeah. No, it's just the interesting one. They left Zhao on, so they have now got 3 centre forwards on the pitch, 3 very experienced forwards. And like you said, it leaves them now with Watford have got the advantage in midfield now, 3 against 2. So Watford should pick up second balls. It's just defending the direct ones that come into their box. So it might help Watford. This it is a bit of a
flag up for offside as Watford played it down that left-hand side, which is a bit disappointing. Ball in from Morris was okay. Free kick though to Reading.
Yeah, my point is an attacking move by Reading, isn't it? Zhao I thought would have come off, and they've left him on, and they've got Carroll on and Long, so 3 forwards. And it might just leave a little bit of space for Watford to counter-attack on.
Seeing if
they moved Long into the position just behind Carroll and Zhao, but Long is a forward. And if Watford are clever in that area, Kone can get on the ball a lot, or Asprilla can get on the ball a lot.
Reading are going backwards to their goalkeeper, Bouzanis. Still hasn't really been tested yet by Watford. And Reading have it now with Loom in midfield. Now Sarr. Sarr goes backwards and finds Scott Dan. Dan inside his own half, just strolling forwards now, feeds a good ball to Long, who's much deeper now. Long feeds in Zhao into the penalty area. Andrews needed to be careful, and he was careful, because anything rash there and he could have given away a penalty kick, but the youngster did well, decided not to fly in, and Watford have won a goal kick.
Yeah, he's done well, Andrews, on the right hand side. By, like you said, it's played alongside a Kong. Zhao's in the box, so Kong does well because he doesn't dive in and orders young Andrews, and basically then Zhao takes too long to get his shot off, but good defending from Watford. Nice and solid there.
Southampton have taken the lead against Palace. Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 2. Scorelines remain the same elsewhere. Tottenham leading, Leicester leading, and the other one 1-1 between Preston and Huddersfield. Watford have the ball with Sirialta. 72.5 minutes gone of this contest. Reading 1, Watford 0. Here's Asprilla. Asprilla picks up inside the Reading half, floats the ball forwards towards Hungbo. Hungbo almost got it down with his head, but couldn't quite, and Abrefa takes it off of him and whacks this ball forward towards Carroll. Won by Sirialta. Sirialta's going to feel the force of Carroll very shortly, I'm sure, as Kone wins the ball in midfield. Kone now, bit of space for him. Kone still going, now feeds it into Asprilla. Asprilla onto his left foot, shoots, goalkeeper saves, and Reading clear. That could have been the chance. I wonder whether he should have shot first time with his right foot instead of cutting onto his left, but he still got the shot away, Asprilla, and the goalkeeper made the save. Kone doing well in midfield. That was nearly the equaliser dealt.
Yeah, brilliant from Kone, winning the ball, and we said get him on turnovers.
Here come Watford once again with Andrews. Andrews strikes, it gets deflected and comfortably saved by the goalkeeper. But the Hornets fans offering encouragement to these youngsters.
Yeah, and we talked about Watford winning the ball higher up, getting 3 against 3 in the middle of the pitch, and that's where it's come from. Kone, excellent. Asprilla, excellent. Pressing high. Andrews pressing high. Kone wins it middle of the pitch, does the right thing, drives at the defence, sets Asprilla. I agree with you. Think he should let it run across to his right foot. But he wants to come back on that left, comes back on it, and the keeper does a decent save down to his right, should save it, but it comes from turnovers. Watford use that energy in the middle of the pitch to win the ball back, and that's what they got to keep doing. That's where they might get some joy.
Another Watford change, and it's going to be 17-year-old Emmanuel Adeyemo who's going to come on for Joseph Hungbo. So the age of the team is lowered by, how many is that, by 5 years, because Adeyemo's 17 and Hungbo is 22. So Adeyemo on the pitch. Here's Asprilla. Asprilla has just had the first chance for Watford. That looks like a good ball towards Adu Poku, but that was just intercepted by Reading. 2,371 away fans from Watford, which is a great turnout, really is, around the M25 and down the M4. But I'm sure lots of them will have come, obviously, to support the team one, but to look at the younger players. And this is the opportunity to see what they're like, to see what Kone's like, to see Watford giving these youngsters a chance.
Yeah, that's what they definitely. It's a great turnout from them anyway. They would have known that the team wouldn't have been the strongest team that Watford could put out, obviously with all the injuries as well. But pressed with the way they're pressing Watford, middle of the pitch in this second half, a lot better. Andrews at right back has done well, using his energy, getting forward. Greaves coming on middle of the pitch. They've got energy, that's the one thing they've got, and they're trying to squeeze Reading when they're trying to play out, and they've got a couple of turnovers. As if they can keep doing that, make use of them turnovers, they nearly get a goal for Asprilla. So here we go with the youngster who's just come on.
Here's Adeyemo, good first touch. Look, couple of step overs, another step over. He's looking to make an impact. Still down that left-hand side goes Adeyemo and wins a corner kick, I think. Yes, he does. That's a nice bright start from Adeyemo, nice. And then he gives it to the Watford fans right in front of him and gives them a lift and says, come on then, you give us a lift now. And then look, again, the Watford fans will like that. That's a good little cameo from Adeyemo, his first touch in a Watford shirt.
Well, brilliant. He's got the ball in the opposition's half, and he just drove towards the touchline. Ends up getting a corner. He took the ball good 30 yards there. Great bright start from the youngster. Looking for better quality delivery now. Kone's on this set piece. They haven't hit a decent ball in yet, Watford.
Here comes the delivery. That's a bit better, but it's met at the near post by Reading. And then Asprilla tries to head down. Watford get it out to that left side. And Reading clear. 1-0 down the Hornets. Still in the game, though. And they've been doing better in the last 15-20 minutes or so. In fact, they're the side on the front foot at the moment, without a shadow of a doubt. Here's Kone, and it's lifted the supporters as well away to our right-hand side, who I think are enjoying themselves, and that's a good ball. Andrews' right-hand side. Andrews' crossing is a good one. It's deep, but it's decent. Morris is backpedaling to go and get that one. Morris does. In comes his cross. Another corner kick, and Watford are playing towards the away supporters, so it's a good combination that they're getting lots of support from this travelling Watford fans.
Yeah, them youngsters, and mentioned Ryan Andrews down this right-hand side. He runs in behind the defence. Kone's been excellent, Asprilla excellent, but them youngsters just added the energy that Watford and Reading, they're just pressing Reading and making mistakes, but it all comes from Andrews' run down the right-hand side, good crossing, corner.
Kone, low one, it hits Sirialta, I think. Asprilla's looking to get to the ball first and does so, left-hand side. Asprilla gives it back to Kone. Kone looking to shoot, does, but that's a wild effort from him, lent back and into those Watford fans. It goes over the bar. Yeah, but Neil Reading lead.
Yeah, comes back to him from Asprilla. He's on the edge of the box. You can't blame him for taking the shot on Kone. Just gets underneath it, it flies high and wide, but him and Asprilla, which are probably very experienced considering the rest of the players around them. Them two in midfield are 20 and 18. I think they've been excellent. But the energy these youngsters have brought to the team has just got Watford on the front foot. And at least they've got the goalkeeper to make a save second half. And it's Reading now just taking their time with the substitution because they just want to stop this onslaught from these Watford youngsters.
Zhao is coming off, Lucas Zhao, and on comes the midfielder, just to get another leg in there, another pair of legs in there. Michael Craig comes into central midfield, so they've gone back to their three in midfield now.
Yeah, I think they notice it. Watford bringing the energy, winning the ball on turnovers, that they needed to add another one in that midfield area, so sensible by them, and they take Zhao off, so just shows you Watford have worried them because they've had to bring back a midfielder.
One of the good things about the FA Cup is that you do get more away supporters. They're given a bigger allocation, so they make more noise and make a day of it, which is Watford have done with over 2,300 fans here today. Invariably, the away supporters make more noise than the home supporters in FA Cup ties because sort of make a day of it, don't they? the supporters, the fans. So, having made the journey, want to make as much noise as possible to cheer on their team, as they see that Watford have conceded a free kick inside their own half. 10.5 minutes to go then, BBC Three Counties Radio. We'll get reaction to this match with Slaven Bilic later in the programme, with either Luke or with Ollie Bayliss. Then we'll have updates from Boreham Wood against Accrington Stanley at 3. Regularly be going to Meadow Park for news on that game as Reading take the free kick and Watford clear. Reading player to head it back towards the penalty area. Still look like they might achieve something here. Raymond into the penalty area. Raymond looking to cross. Kone does good work and stops that one. Watford trying to clear their lines. This is going to be a free kick. Rahman couldn't get his cross in. Then after updates from Boreham Wood, we've got another commentary game on digital radio and BBC Sport Online. Luton versus Wigan in the FA Cup. A 5:30 kick-off, that one. And our FA Cup coverage ends tomorrow. Live commentary of Aston Villa versus Stevenage. 4:30 kick-off, 95.5, 103.8 FM. And again, BBC Sport Online, so you can listen to us anywhere in the country if you're travelling, as it's the FA Cup, like you can do this afternoon. Watford trailing 1-0. Final 9 minutes of this contest. They have it over on the far side. Very young team now, ending the game. Yeah. Pollock curls one round the corner. Sorry, Dale.
I think they have a taste for this, these Watford players. They're desperate to get an equaliser because they want to get a game, get a replay, get back to Vicarage Road and play. Because the longer the game's got on, the more they're enjoying it, I'm sure. They had a taste of it and they want to get this goal.
Pollock striding forwards, gives it to Asprilla, 25 yards out. Asprilla onto his left foot, which is where he wants it. Strike at goal is blocked. Watford again have it over on the far with Morris. Morris on his right foot, clips one in. Reading clear. Unfortunately for them, it finds a blue and white shirt, and they'll look to counter-attack now. But challenge comes in, and that's given us a free kick from the challenge from Adu Poku. Free kick to Reading.
Yeah, and he's unlucky because I'm sure he uses his shoulder. Working back really hard for his team, Adi Poco. Does well. The referee sees it as a foul. Might not have been, but just before that, Asprilla, edge of the box, drops the shoulder, gets his shot, gets blocked. Reading putting players in the ball, but a good, strong finish from this young Watford team. And I'm sure the Watford fans, like I said, if these players, if they could get an equaliser, it'd be great. I know the club might not want another fixture, but these youngsters will want to be playing in the replay of this game, so they want this equaliser.
Yeah, well, they could just play these lot, couldn't they, again, give them another opportunity.
And that's exactly what I would do, because they are relishing this opportunity and doing really well.
Asprilla trying to get the ball down in the midfield area. Difficult though, because the ball was bouncing up and down. Now a Reading player has gone down and it's a head clash, so they're going to have to pause play here. Andy Carroll has received one in the head, I think from Ekong. I think both of them were just challenging for the ball, and Andy Carroll has come off worst. Must have been close to hitting his bun, which is what he has to sort out all of that hair on the back of his head. Just sat up now. I think he'll be okay. Andy Carroll, former Liverpool and West Ham striker, plus Newcastle, had a decent career. He just gets up, just rubs the back of his head and gets ready to continue. Preston gone 2-1 up against Huddersfield in the FA Cup. So Southampton lead, Leicester lead, Preston lead, Reading lead and Tottenham lead in the 12:30 kickoffs. Reading free kick just beyond the halfway line. It's going to get played in by Loom into the penalty area towards Carroll, who heads down, but there's no Reading player to pick up the knockdown. Reading head it back towards the Watford penalty area. One in the air by Ekong and then volleyed away by Morris, who's done well again in that left wing back position. Here's Carroll. Played into midfield to Craig. Craig out to that right side. And Abrefa, his goal separates these two teams. Craig on the right hand side goes back to Abrefa. Attempted cross which went in from Kelvin Abrefa. Watford still defending with Reading on the ball in midfield and McIntyre. Back to the halfway line they go, Reading to Dan. And Dan now to that right, and Mbengu. Reading keeping possession, but then they give the ball away, and Watford have it, but the pass there wasn't a great one, trying to give it to Kone. And it was just a bit too strong from Adeyemo, unfortunately for him. Just a bit too much pace on the ball, and Kone couldn't keep it under control, so Reading go backwards to Sarr. Just over 5 minutes to go in the FA Cup third round. Watford beat Reading at Vicarage Road earlier in the season 2-0 back in November when Pedro scored both goals. Foul on the far side. Who was it? Was it
Adeyemo? But he's just a
bit late, was it?
He's honestly working hard, chasing back, and dives in. Referee, I think, is going to give him a yellow card. It's just, he's young and enthusiastic, and I don't think it's not malice at all. And he's a bit unfortunate to get a yellow card. He's worked so hard up there in that lone striker role. Well,
I'm assuming that Slaven Bilic has liked what he's seen, because he's kept him out there for the whole game. As Reading make another substitution, Baba Rahman is going off, and Guinness Walker will come on for the home side. Another one who's a squad player, Guinness Walker. So the difference is they're making their subs, Dale, and they're sort of first team squad players. Watford are making the subs and their kids, academy players.
That is the difference, and also you'd say they weathered the storm. Reading of this Watford had a good little burst there, but they just slowed the game down as well. Paul Ince, and using all his experience.
Free kick into the box. Carroll rises against Ekong, doesn't get anything on it. Probably should have done, actually, Carroll there. Didn't seem to time the header right. Ball out of play for a goal kick to Watford, which still trail by that 1-0 right at the end of the first half. Abrefa attempting a cross on the right hand side, and he got it all wrong, but he got it all right, because it ended up right at the far post and underneath the post and the bar, and Okoye couldn't keep it out, backpedaling, probably got his footing wrong, the goalkeeper. Maduka Okoye, you'd expect your goalkeeper to save it. Unfortunately, it was a difficult one to deal with, admittedly, but you'd still want your goalkeeper to save it, I think. And that's the goal that separates these two sides.
Yeah, and we talked about, you know, the changes and all that, but you can see Paul Ince and making decisions like slowing the game down, making them substitutions. So they still want to win the game. Once you're out there, you want to win this football match, and Reading have had to weather Watford's storm, and now they're just managing the game reasonably well. So, like I said, I think Reading just might have weathered the storm, and then now it'd be hard for Watford to get any sort of opportunities. But you hope they just win the ball in that midfield area, get a turnover, and hopefully get one more opportunity. But Reading are managing the game really intelligently now.
Yeah, they're holding on to the ball, and they're kind of getting Watford to commit fouls, and that slows the game down, and then they can play a ball into the penalty area for Carroll, which is what they've just done. Watford have cleared. Reading pick up once again, just seeing this game out, being professional in their approach to ending this game with 2 minutes to go. Here's Guinness Walker, just clips it forwards. Asprilla intercepts. Asprilla has it in midfield. Asprilla takes on his player, still going forward. Asprilla into the penalty area it goes. Adeyemo is there, can't quite get to the ball ahead of the goalkeeper. The Watford fans think it's a foul, and then Adupuku slides in, can't keep it in play, but wins the ball. The goalkeeper did enough there.
Yeah, no, brilliant from Asprilla, middle of the pitch, to drop a shoulder, get onto his right hand side, leaves a couple of Reading players behind him. Then he's got runners ahead of him, but just overhits the pass. If he just gets the weight right, you get someone in, and but that's where they're winning the ball, middle of the pitch, and they're on it again, Watford.
So with Sirialta to Asprilla. Asprilla from that right hand side cuts in, gives it to Kone 45 yards out, looking at options. Kone now to Sirialta, who's stayed up. Sirialta lays it off to Andrews right side. Andrews crossing, looks another good one. No one attacking it at the far post. Couple of decent crosses from Andrews as Morris picks up over on that far side. Morris has won a corner kick for the Hornets. This game's not dead yet.
He's the one that's impressed me, Andrews, on this right hand side, getting forward, look comfortable. had a shot there, got a couple good crosses in, but again now, can they do something with this set piece? Kone's had 2 from this right hand side, 1 decent, 1 went low, so 1 went decent, so can they get something here?
Kone to take the corner then in front of the travelling Watford supporters who are watching their side trail 1-0 here with just a little bit of time to go plus stoppage time, about 10 seconds plus stoppage time, and we're going to see how much of that we'll get in just a second. 4th official is down there, still awaiting for this corner to come in. 4 minutes we'll get. 4 minutes to play then as Kone takes this corner kick, a low one again, near post, headed away by Reading. He's done a couple of them and they haven't quite come off.
Yeah, he's got to beat the first man, doesn't there, Kone? Not the best set piece, but 4 minutes, I think it should have been more, but we had that first half. But
is that a foul on the far side? Yes, it is. Free kick to Watford, and the Hornets want to take it quickly. It's Kone who was caught over on the far side by Shane Long. Watford take the free kick. Asprilla on the halfway line gives it to Ryan Andrews. Andrews in field, back to Asprilla. Asprilla in the centre circle now, issuing instructions. Wanted a bit more movement, I think. Here's a Kong. Watford 1 goal away from getting an equaliser and getting a replay. Here's Sirialta, but time is running out to Pollock. Pollock just beyond the halfway line for the Hornets. Now to Morris. Morris backwards to Kone. Kone, good feet from him once again. Steps away from a couple of Reading players. Certainly plenty of potential, Ismail Kone. There's no doubt about that. Here's Asprilla. Asprilla to Akong. Akong curling one in now. It's headed away. Watford with an opportunity, and it's Morris who slashes towards goal. Oh. The goalkeeper misses it and is challenged and just about gets away with it. A fumble from the goalkeeper, but the follow-up probably was a foul on him from Adiemo. Free kick to the home team.
I don't know how the keeper's made that into what he did, because it's a mishit from Morris at the back post. It loops up and he somehow managed to nearly drop the ball on his own goal line there, and Adiemo comes in and nearly gets it in the back of the net, but he makes up for it. He recovers quickly, but nearly a massive goalkeeping error there from Reading to let Watford back in.
Ball is smashed forwards. Adiemo is chasing after it and forces the defender to whack this ball out of play. Watford finishing with plenty of gusto here. It's gone into the Reading fans, who are not giving the ball back to Watford, and then he was just about to throw it up into the Reading crowd, the Reading fan, and as he twisted round to throw it, the ball dropped out of his hand and ended up with the Watford player. I was going to call him something then, but I won't. Here's Kone. It wasn't too harsh. Kone now on that left-hand side goes backwards to Sirialta. He made himself look a bit foolish there, that fan. Ball into the box from Andrews, not quite accurate enough. Reading have it, and Reading will whack it forward. Long is away now. Long heads into the penalty area. Shane Long to finish the game, and does so. And Reading are through to the 4th round of the FA Cup. They've been beaten Watford by 2-0 against the run of play. On the counter-attack, Shane Long has scored those goals all of his career, and the former Southampton striker, an Ireland international, buries that into the far corner. Nothing Okoye could have done with that one, and Watford harshly dealt by in this final minute of stoppage time. They've lost by 2-0.
Yeah, it's a good ball from McIntyre, the central midfielder. He's had a good game for Reading, left-footed. The cross, Watford try and get the ball back in the box. Reading clear it, and he picks the ball up in his own half, gets his head up early. Long makes a good run to the right-hand side, and he's in, and Shane Long going in one-on-one. You expect him to score. He has plenty of time to pick his spot. Does that and side foots it into the opposite corner. Obviously, Watford chasing the game, leaving a load of men forward because we're into the last minute. It's just a goal that Reading get. Smash on counter-attack, and it's only because Watford have really thrown loads of men forward. It's a cup tie, and you can't blame Watford for sticking lots of men forward from the corner. They just get hit on the counter-attack. But that's game done and dusted now.
Well, you don't really care too much about that final goal. It's a counter-attacking goal. It doesn't really mean anything. Watford was trying to get an equaliser. and that type of thing can happen. And if anything, it shows that the Hornets showed some good spirit at the end to try and get the equaliser to force a replay, but they just weren't able to do so, and Reading went up the other end and scored through Shane Long. There goes the full-time whistle then. Watford are out of the FA Cup. They can concentrate on the Championship. 2 big home games coming up against Blackpool and Rotherham in the next couple of Saturdays. A very young team ended this game. Adu Poku, Adeyemo, Asprilla, Kone, Morris, Andrews, Greaves. They put in a shift, and those Watford fans who remain, I think will think to themselves, the youngsters have done well today, Derek Payne.
Yeah, they'd be delighted. The supporters will be delighted with the effort they've seen there, and you can see them, they're clapping the team off the pitch because they showed some real fight there. The youngsters has really worked hard to try and pull the result back from 1-0 down, and they can be pleased with the energy they showed, and the fans giving them real good clap off the pitch, and they haven't gone off the pitch, the youngsters. I'm sure them youngsters loved that today, and they put in, showed their honesty. The effort was there, and it's great to see people like Jack Greaves, Ryan Andrews, Adrian Blake getting their chance at this level, and I'm sure they've enjoyed their day, even though the result isn't what they wanted. But the supporters are giving them a real good clap of the field because they've shown real courage and energy there today. Adi Poku, I haven't mentioned Adeyemo. These players, they would have loved that today, and they showed great energy and fight for their football club.
And there are some of those, there will be some fans in there, Derek, who will say, give them a go in the Championship, some of those young players, rather than, you know, bring over some of these players from overseas who we've never heard of, and we're not quite sure about their temperament, and, you know, whether they are being brought in almost just to sell on a bit later in their career. Give the younger ones a go. They've showed a bit of pride, a bit of passion, a bit of heart, and a bit of desire today.
Yeah, they have, and all they would say to that is, people will say, obviously it's not a Championship game, and Reading, lots of changes from their normal side, but they have shown exactly what you said: heart, passion, pride for the team. And second half, that energy they had in there, that they brought into the second half, in the likes of Ryan Andrews and Jack Greaves and Adi Poku, who played the full 90, Adeyemo, who come on the pitch. That energy they brought in there got them a few turnovers, got them nearly back in the game. Asprilla had the best chance, but it all come from them young lads bringing that energy to that second half, and it worried Reading enough that Reading had to make that change when they tried to. They had 3 up front, they changed it back to a 3 in midfield, because, like I said, them youngsters at the heart of it nearly got Watford the result that they wanted after being 1 back, to get it back to 1-1. They couldn't get it back to 1-1, but the energy and commitment was there from them, from all them players. And must mention Kone, thought he had an excellent debut, very encouraging from him, and Watford could be proud of that performance, even though they haven't got the result they wanted.
So here in Berkshire, it's defeat for Watford by 2-0. Both goals at the end of each half, in the 45th minute and in the 90th minute. There wasn't much they could do about the second goal, but the damage was done in the first half. And actually Watford played better in the second half when they ended the match with a younger team, and some good displays, as Derek was saying. Ismail Kone certainly stood out. Yasser Asprilla played pretty well too, and then all of the youngsters put in good shifts, particularly Ryan Andrews, who did well at right wing back. Morris had a good game at left wing back, and then Adu Poku lasted the whole game, credit to him too, plus the other ones who came on, Adeyemo and Greaves. A bit of passion in there from Watford, which is what you just want to see every single week, and why those Hornets fans did give them a really good send-off at the end. But full-time score then here at the Select Car Leasing Stadium is Reading 2, Watford 0.